I wanted to ask you, what do you think has made you relevant for all these years?
Yeah, there's no way we can dwell on defeat. And the minute you start focusing on the simplest of positives that are going well, it's incredible how you then start, the list just gets long.
I already knew that, okay, I've lost these clients and they're not coming back. And if they do come back, it's going to be in drips and drabs because they've also lost.
We are all connected. So join me as I talk to like-minded people about topics that are appropriate to the current times we are living in. My name is Lerato and this is Relevant.
Hi everyone, welcome to Relevant. We're straight into 2021, and what I wanted to do this year with the podcast is to really have conversations with people that I not only like and people that I admire, but also have real conversations about things that I'm passionate about. So I will not invite anybody on here that I'm not interested in or want to learn from. And my guest today, I'm so lucky. I got to be guided through a meditation I by her last year at one of Gwena Baloyi's fixed conversations. And it was incredible. Certain people at our table were in tears. And it was a transformative experience because I had started regaining my relationship again with meditation about 3 months before then. So I felt ready for that moment. She is a yoga instructor and a brand strategist and the founder of Nomad Organic. Wait, sorry, other way around. Organic Nomad. Organic Nomad founder, Banesa Tseki. Vanessa, how are you?
I'm so good, Lerato. Thank you so much for having me. This is so great. Like, this is so profesh. I love it. Like, you're so organized.
Thank
You're
you.
so organized. Wow. Like, you have
Thank you. I
inspired.
like if I take it seriously, then you take it seriously.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
you've just been teaching now. So
Yes.
before Vanessa and I came on, she was like, "Oh damn, lipstick." I'm like, I was like, "You look like you've been teaching yoga, and you just came up to do interviews." So I'm very grateful. How have you been dealing as a business owner, and as particularly because you deal with food and the work that you
Yeah.
do is quite physical with teaching people yoga? How has this time been like for you?
It's it's been really, really tough. I think that goes without saying. I think anybody who is trying to sort of make a living right now is struggling, especially if you're self-employed.
Yeah.
Um, we got hit really hard because we took a huge risk opening up the wellness center and putting the money in there. So there's a lot of overheads there. And for us to be the last sort of industry allowed to open, so we were only allowed to operate in level one. So that has also changed the behavioral pattern of our clients because we opened up our studios, but because we'd gone online, people weren't coming to the studio. They were still going online because at the end of the day, after work, to drive to the studio when you can just go to your living room, I think it's sort of changed people's behavior. So we've definitely taken a hit, but we managed to pivot successfully, I'd say, because we opened up our yoga teacher training school. So we, throughout lockdown, what we did is we just trained teachers to become Banesa yoga teachers online. And the group that we had was phenomenal, like absolutely phenomenal. Like
Wow.
it's such an honor to be on the path of like healers like that and being giving your bit in their journey, which is still so much bigger than you. So I think it's been tough, it's been good. But overall, I think mentally and financially is where I've been hit the most, to be honest.
So you and Anisu started the
The
Nest Space
next bit, yeah,
in which is in Greenside in Johannesburg in South Africa,
yeah.
2018. And those of us who saw that first social media tweet never forgot it. You know, the two black
Yeah.
females start a yoga studio. It was a sort of an act of defiance, but also like a call to action for those of us who are interested in yoga and meditation and wellness and mindfulness. And as you say, you put a lot of money and energy into it. What was the thing that made you go, this is what I want to do? Like, what was the thing that made you go, I'm going to put all my money and my energy into
Yeah.
this yoga studio?
I think for me, it happened more in a way where I just felt like I fell into it in the sense that how it started was Anesu was working as a nursery teacher, and she had saved up a bit of money, and she took the leap to get the lease out and start this yoga studio.
Yeah.
She had opened it for about a month. And I guess her biggest issue was obviously there was no traffic, no one knew about it. And a friend of ours put us together, who knew the space that I was working in. And I work in the communications and branding aspect. So I'm also a music promoter. I forgot to mention that to you. So
Yeah.
I'm very used to getting people to come to a certain space. I've been doing it my whole life. And it was, and so when we spoke about it initially, I'd said, I'd come on as to help her out. Maybe you hire me as your brand strategist or etc. But that wasn't really the capacity she had, and I sort of fell into a partnership, which was more of what was resonating. And we went through it, and each time, like we went through it, it seemed like a surprise. But after the first 3 months, I think it suddenly hit me what was actually happening and what we were creating and how important it was, and it felt so aligned. And the way it hit me and made me feel, gave me such a sense of purpose. I definitely knew that there were so many people who needed to hear, because the nest doesn't feel like a business, it feels like an NGO, like a movement, to be
Yes.
honest. Like, I think Anissa and I have long let go of the idea of trying to make money, as long as we can just be profitable. But what's really important is the impact that we leave. And even more so when we spoke about it and the response we got, then I was like, okay, yeah, we're
That's
on the
it,
right.
right?
This is
No,
what's needed. Yeah.
we were hella excited,
No, it was amazing.
for you
Yeah.
both. It's interesting that you say you kind of fell into it. You also do eventing and promoting. So somebody, and I work with a lot of brand strategists in advertising. I'm now in advertising, I used to be in media.
Lovely.
And the two are so different, like a yoga uh, instructor, and then this very commodity driven money, KPIs world. How how have you reconciled the two?
I feel like that has just been a sort of reflection of my life. I feel like as a person, I have these dualities which I've had to struggle to sort of merge. And
Yeah.
it's a side of me, I can be a bad bitch out here in the club. I was a promoter. I like things. I like clothes. I like shoes. I'm very sassy in that sense. But then I've got the other side of me where I'm able to go meditate for 10 days, 20 days in silence with nothing but like a small backpack, no makeup, no nothing,
Yeah.
and do that. They feel like two different people. And that's why I was struggling, because I couldn't sort of bring those together.
Yeah.
And so I think it just, and I'm not sure if I've successfully done that yet. I just found that when I moved into the wellness space, it resonated a lot more. It benefited me a lot more psychologically and
Yeah.
spiritually, and I was able to take the tools that I'd learned in the marketing and branding and events sort of industry, and apply them to the spiritual space, because the spiritual space needs promotion. It really does, and it
It
needs people
does.
to know about it, and it needs a space. And those are sort of the things that I was, instead of it being a DJ and a performance and alcohol and music, it's instead sound healing sort of practitioner, smoothies, vegan food. So it's just replacing those elements and still trying to figure it out. And I mean, just as we're trying to find our way, the only difference is, though, in this side, there's no money.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's almost like you have to choose, like, do you want to get paid, then you need to go put your boots back on and do what you need to, or do you want to be spiritually fulfilled? And
Mm.
that's hard. I mean, we all want to be spiritually fulfilled, would love that, but we live in a world where our landlord isn't going to understand that, our family don't. So I
So
think it's still a journey that I'm trying to to figure out, because I'm still standing. It's not been easy. So that surely means I'm somehow trying to figure it out. Because
Mm,
I also worry about spirituality that comes with a price tag. So you can't
mm,
just hike prices. You can't just have a retreat for 10, 20 grand. Like that doesn't make
exactly.
sense for me. Yeah. So I
Exactly.
guess I'm still trying to figure it out.
I also feel like that duality is a duality that a lot of us live with. I think that the one of the things that is troublesome about us as human beings is that we think that we must choose. We think that we must either
Mm-hmm.
do the club or meditate.
Yeah.
And that's if we've learned anything about being in the present moment and being mindful, is that whatever it is that you're doing, you're eating, you're enjoying music,
Yeah.
you need to, all of it is a part of you, So
Absolutely.
I I I first got into yoga in my early 20s.
Nice.
And there was I found an expensive school in the Lovo, and I was like, hell no, I'm not. And then I found a school in Parkview that was run by monks. And it was the
Mm,
first time I learned how to meditate. And it was
mm.
interesting because
What
he's,
was it called?
oh my goodness, I've forgotten. It was like on the top of
Okay.
Parkview. I think it's because
I
I'm
think
like,
I know which one you're talking about. I'm also, the name escapes me, but yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
very pared down. People weren't wearing like these fancy yoga things like they're in
Mm.
LA.
Lululemon
Yeah,
and
exactly. It was a very sort of pared down environment, but I'd never
Mm,
experienced meditation before. And it's the monks never spoke loudly, which always came in and
mm,
out. And when they
mm,
brought you back out, you were like, oh goodness, I wasn't asleep, but
mm,
I felt this peacefulness. And then I went through a time of the 30s of money, of
mm.
trying to make it exactly what you're talking about, and completely lost that. So I
Yeah,
started gymming and was like, sitting on
yeah,
30 minutes, no. And
yeah,
then
yeah.
COVID-19 hit, and then I went back to all the things I used to love. And I hold on to meditation so strongly. I hold on to it so strongly so that I'm aware of what's happening in my mind. When I was
Nice.
reading your story, you said you got into yoga and sort of mindfulness and spirituality through being suffering from anxiety and depression, which is what a lot of people are feeling now. I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to lose my job.
Yep,
I don't know how I'm going to
yep,
make it.
yeah,
My relationship is ending, whatever the case may be. And our knee jerk reaction as humans is to do what you did, which is to go to doctors, they give you something,
yeah,
you
yeah,
take it. But as you said, it ended up making you numb as opposed to making you conscious. So,
absolutely.
how did you realize there's I don't need medication. There's something else that I need.
Yeah. I think for me, and I actually, that's a good question because I was quite young to make that sort of realization. I think
Hmm.
I was only like 18. But it came from the feeling because I had the extreme. So it was when I was in my depressive, anxious state. That was horrible. Like the world is a horrible place. It's difficult to just wake up in the morning. And I mean severely difficult. You almost have in a state of paralysis.
Hmm.
And then I was given this other option where, okay, I'm no longer in a state of paralysis or sorrow. I'm no longer sad, and I'm waiting for what's the replacement. Like, and there was nothing. It's nothing. Like it's just nothing. And I was like, that can't be right. That
Mhm.
can't be how I'm supposed to exist. So, and in some ways, that felt worse than being in pain. At least I was feeling something when I was in pain, but not feeling
Exactly.
anything even made me. It made my life seem a little even more pointless because I just felt like a ghost, like a shadow of myself. And so I guess I came across Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth.
Oh, yes. I've got it like over there. Like,
Yeah,
yeah. Man,
there it is.
that
There it is.
that book is transformative.
Game changer.
Oh,
Game changer.
oh,
Absolutely. Like, I don't know. That was a service to humanity on a
yeah,
lot of levels for me. And it was just simply, and its simplicity, I think, is what got me. It wasn't trying to take me to any institution. I
yes.
didn't have to say a mantra. I didn't have to change my diet by anything. All I had to do was be in the present moment and breathe. And when I attempted to do that, I realized how hard it was to do something that is so simple and is part of our human existence. And that's when a whole new sort of portal opened, and I was like, all right, all right, all right. Now this is the rabbit hole we're going down, and that's what led me to, I learned the Sudashan Kriya from the Art of Living, which is a breathing technique, and the breath is directly correlated to the mind. And so I feel like a lot more work and research needs to be done in that, in terms of mental illnesses, because there are a lot of them, and I'm proof that can be like maintained or managed through the breath. And people will go, wow, that's a crazy idea. But, I might have even said it in our session when we were doing the meditation, was when you're angry, you can tell someone's angry sometimes just by their breathing, and you're like, whoa, are you okay, friend? Like, you're push up, So you have to check them. And you can also just tell when someone comes through and they, and you're like, whoa, are you okay? There's an indication, because that's connected to someone's state of being. So if that's the case, the idea of sort of turning it upside down, and instead of having the breath, the mind dictate how you're feeling. So I'm angry, and so I'm breathing this way. How about I breathe this way, and so I'm happy or peaceful or calm? And that for me was just, it seemed like what I think maths and science should be like. It just seems logical. And actually, I feel very blessed and lucky to have come across that and been exposed to that sort of teaching. And I guess that's part of my journey now, is there's no reason why. It's okay if yoga isn't for you, if meditation isn't for you, but you should at least know of it to know that it's not for you. I think it's an injustice when people don't even know it exists.
Exactly. It's like, oh, I don't eat sushi because it's not for Black people. And you're like,
meanwhile,
tried it? Do you? Because I like to make an informed decision. I don't like it because I've tried it and it's not working. So I want to speak to you about yoga, but first, before we go to yoga, for me, breathing is so important, which is what you were saying. And before it became a real daily spiritual practice for me, I didn't realize what was happening. And I was at a work thing last year. I was really, really angry and I couldn't get out of it. I just couldn't get out. And I thought, what you need to do is go back to your room and meditate and ask yourself why you were injured by this thing, why you felt the way you felt. And it was as if I came back 20 minutes later, and one of my colleagues was like, what happened? Where did you go? Because somebody different left and then you came back. And I realized I needed to get out of my mind, but I needed to get into myself to understand what was happening, because we project a lot of the times when something happens and you're angry, you have made me feel this way. You did this to me. And then I realized, why am I feeling this way? Is the first thing that I need to ask myself. Why am I feeling this way? And when we did the meditation with you, the lady next to me, this one that you did, and I think you can tell us what it's called, where you explained that's how animals breathe. It was very fast.
Breath of fire.
The breath of fire. And at the end of it, there were about 2 or 3 people at the table who were in tears. And I wanted to ask you why that is. And as you were talking us through it and guiding us through it, you did say some people are going to feel this way. And maybe it's because I rekindled my meditation 3 months before. So I don't know, I was centered, but what was happening to everybody else who had such an emotional reaction?
Ooh, if I had a penny for every time someone has cried in Breath of Fire, including myself, I have full on bawled out on Breath of Fire. So it's also it's circumstances for sure. So when I can only give you, I can give you an example of when I broke down, and then I'll give you the why it happens.
Okay.
When I broke down, my cousin had just passed away, and we were super close. He was my surname Tseki, and he had passed away. And I was absolutely, he was the closest person to me who's ever passed away, which I guess is I'm lucky for that. And I
Yeah.
was going to my yoga class with my teacher, and we went into breath of fire, and I knew, and to like 30 seconds in, it was a wrap. Like,
Oh.
the point where at least other people can, I was just, when you need to take,
The ugly cry.
it's like you're now disrupting everyone else, and, it was intense. So the how it works is every emotion that we have is, and every thought that we have occurs as a sensation in our body. And that's something that you start to realize when you meditate, because it sometimes happens on a very subtle level. So it
Mm.
almost seems as if it doesn't happen. But if you think of your mother right now, if you're in a very certain state of serenity, you will feel a sensation.
Mm.
And sometimes it's not just your heart open. Sometimes it's literally just like something in your back.
Yep.
Sometimes it's in your thigh. It can be in different places. And that idea is, we carry a lot of emotions in our body, and
Yeah.
they get stored in our body. And so when you do something that's physical, it's almost like, what's that thing when you save someone's life? CPR.
Yeah. Yeah. CPR when you resuscitate
CPR.
them.
So that when you're resuscitating and you're actually pushing the chest in and out for them, breath of fire, you're literally doing that for yourself. I was having a session one with my therapist, and we're going through some of the traumas. And one of the most important things to ask, and I do this with my clients as well, is, where do you feel it in your body? So when you're thinking of the heartbreak or the trauma, that trauma is located in your body. And usually grief happens in your chest. Fear happens in your stomach. There's certain places that are common, but sometimes fear can happen in your back, and
Mm.
back aches, etc. So when you start breathing and sort of mimicking that, you're sort of forcing your chest to move in a certain way and your diaphragm to move, it releases those emotions that are stored. So a lot of the women won't even tell you why they were crying sometimes, because it can be something so detached and far gone, but it's literally you mimicking sort of movement in your body that is releasing a trauma that is in the form of emotion that gets stuck, trapped in there, because we don't really have the tools to access it.
Sure. That's really interesting because I knew that everybody was having their own experience during that time. And that's what I've learned as well. But when a lot of people are going to look at this podcast and listen to us, every time I talk to particularly our people, Black people,
Yeah, yeah,
they say, oh, I can't focus for that long. I don't know what you want me to do. Like the crossing of the legs, like I just don't understand. And for me, I then struggle with, how do I make you understand why this is beneficial? How do you help people get over that cross-legged, I'm a Buddha, my mind
yeah,
is, oh, I can't think of anything, so I
yeah.
can't do it mentality.
I think that's been our biggest why in the nest space and in our journeys, as my journey as a teacher, is trying to overcome the barriers of everything from, I cannot sit for 30 seconds, I'm not flexible enough, I don't have the time, it's not for me, I'm too fat, I'm too thin. Those are all that come up, and it's all it's irrelevant to the practice.
Yeah.
And I've found that the only way to successfully change people's perception is to be that, to show that. So if you're meditating when you're doing yoga, then people are like, oh, okay, I can do that. Ah, man. I mean, people, especially that's why it's so important to see representation on a physical
Exactly.
level. Because people will see that there's Baha Yogi, a friend of mine, Alex, she's Baha Yogi on Instagram. There's Kafui Anwar. There are these very full-figured, strong women who are definitely not small on any level, but oh my word, the things that they can do with their body, and it just smashes any stereotype that anybody thought that they needed to be skinny or a certain way. Then there's the idea of seeing people of color doing it. The more we have these conversations, the more spaces like the Nest and organize, like Fix, when she has events and introducing this to her audience, the more then we're able, because you can't really identify or connect with something that you didn't even know existed. And a
No.
lot of the while we're at the conversations, a lot of the women were coming up to me and saying they'd never done that before. And that's the thing that you need to get it. It's, you take for granted how much access you have to certain things. And this person, it's not like because they're out living in a rural area or they don't have money. That's not, it's just literally a paradigm shift of thinking that this is for me. So for me, example has always been that, and just talking more about it and leading by example and showing what benefits they can have. Because the same with eating, with the vegan diet, people will look at you and think you're crazy. Black people are like, not a damn chance.
Ipinyam.
Exactly. But then 6 months later, even my mom, who like is my worst enemy when it comes to that diet, is like, okay, your skin's looking really good. Maybe I'll stop once a week, and then you can start because they see it for in life, and you can't argue with tangible results.
No, you can't. And the thing is, I I've learned how important what I put in my body is. So I used to eat healthy for the sake of eating healthy, for
Yeah.
it's good for my figure, blah blah blah,
Yes.
all of those things. And then as I get more conscious of everything that I'm unconscious of, including how I see other people, how I see myself, my self-talk, the self-judgment, I realized there's certain food that I must eat and why it's good for me and why it's good for my brain, good for different parts of my body. And that includes going back to eating more vegetables. So I try and eat as much plant-based as I possibly can. Was it an easy transition for you being a Black child to now saying adios to?
No, it definitely wasn't, and it still isn't. I think there's also the misconception that people think, oh, vegan, so I've never had a cheat day. You know what I mean? Because I call
Yes.
myself vegan, I've never had a slice of pizza. Oh, I have. I've had a slice of pizza. I've had some eggs in this time. It's definitely for me. My diet is also correlated to how I'm feeling. And
Feeling,
if
yes.
I'm feeling disciplined and motivated, then this vegan thing is it's nothing. This is part of it. But when you're feeling down and kicked and you don't feel like you can get up anymore, what you're gonna reach for is not a salad.
No.
It's not a it's the thing. You're gonna reach for what gives you comfort, irrespective of what you stand for and the animal's rights or your health. You're going for what's gonna make you feel good in that moment. So it's a journey, and I think the thing about the vegan movement, it's very white in the world and in South Africa, and it's also very unforgiving. Vegans have a very bad reputation of being really crazy and judgmental, and you'll experience that. The people who experience that the most are people who are trying to become vegan, and I think that's really sad because
Yeah.
the people who are even interested get the most flack because it's like, but Lerato, didn't you say
Exactly.
you were vegan? What's that? What's that?
Exactly. Exactly. Are those eggs?
And it makes people feel like I can sign up for this. I'm just trying to live my life. And I think it's really important for people to understand that judgment is just not something that is helpful in any journey of self-fulfillment or even yourself, because we're harshest on ourselves, to be honest, more so than other people. So if
Exactly.
that's the thing anyone is thinking of, remove the pressure. And I've got so many friends of mine who are like, don't call me vegan. I'm just not eating meat for some time. And
Yes.
they feel a lot better because that you don't have the pressure of now smamang is going to be like. And I think that's something the vegan movement really, I think, would do so much better if there was a little more the compassion that we have for animals and the environment. We need to show it to each other first.
Exactly. Exactly. That's why I love this American lady called Tabitha Brown. And Tabitha is a Black vegan, and she's just like, honey child, make no mistake. Like, I I want to feel, I want to have macaroni and cheese, you know what I mean? Like, and then she shows you how to make it in a way that's delicious. And in a way, she feels like she's one of us. It's like you're looking at a Black woman who just chose the right decision for herself and for her body. And it's not like, oh my God, if you are not, it's, and I think representation is so crucial. And when it comes to yoga itself, why is it, I mean, I know because I think it's amazing, but why is it different to going to the gym and exercise? Why is it, why do you need a little bit of both? And I do think you need a little both. I think you need cardio, and I think you need to do some yoga. Why should people consider doing both?
I definitely think people should consider both because they offer different things, and but it's also not either or. You
Yes.
can get, there
Yes.
are people that I know who gym in a spiritual way, hey? Their
Mm.
gym is meditative, their gym is purposeful, it's personal, they run, like it is inspiring to see. And it's not so much about how their body is, you can see that it's very much about going within. And
Yeah.
then there's some people who do yoga, and and it's just about how much they can flex, how good they're looking, so the two don't sort of guarantee anything.
Yep.
But what I really love about yoga is that it's holistic. And when I mean holistic, I mean it takes into account everything.
Yeah.
So it looks at your mind, body, and soul. So it's not, your body is activated in the asanas and the way you're stretching and pushing yourself. And you can do so in power yoga, which is more like cardio because you're going really hectic.
Yeah.
And there's gentle vinyasa, there's kundalini, but these all work with the body. But then you go into the mind, and that's what the breath work that you do. Because again, we're going back to it being correlated to the breath and mind being one and one.
Mm.
And yoga, you have to move with the breath, whether you're going kundalini, kinetic, power, you need to move with the breath. And that awareness puts you in the present moment.
Mm.
And then on top of that, there's that union that happens with your whole mind, body, and soul. And the soul element, which I see as my spirituality, other people just see it as the connection
Yeah.
to all things. And that's, I think, the soul element is what is missing from a lot of sort of workouts. They don't, you don't, it's not just about improving your body or improving your mind, it's about improving your soul, like your
Exactly.
core, who you are.
Exactly.
And that's really I think an important thing, because with yoga you don't get upset. It's rare for people to do yoga and be checking the scale. you know Eh, it's very rare, but you will lose a lot of weight while doing it, and you realize that when the emphasis you're not so hard on yourself in this practice. It kind of humbles you in that way.
So for people who are like, where do I start? Like, I don't
Hmm.
know. And I go back to
Yeah.
last year through that guided meditation. So we were it was an event. So there are
Yeah.
people setting up the sound, there's people setting food, you know, and you kept saying
Got champagne.
champagne, and you kept saying the noise is happening, but focus. And so a lot of people worry about like, how do I come back to the breath when there's all these other things? And then did I lock the door? And da, da. So where do people start? Like, how do you just, somebody who's watching this was like, I would love to, I'm hearing all of you guys talk about it, but you know,
Yeah.
what is the first step?
I definitely think the first step is to understand that I think people think meditation is having no thoughts, and they think meditation is is hearing nothing. It's just being in silence, and that is absolutely not true. Meditation is being focused despite the thoughts, being
Yes.
focused despite the sounds,
Yes.
and you don't fight against them. If there's a beep 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 happening, you don't suddenly go, oh, why? Oh, open your window. Whoa, shut up. That's the opposite of what
Exactly.
you sit there and you go, oh, beep, beep, beep. And you listen to it and you're like, oh, there's a rhythm, beep. And then you accept it. Right now, while I'm meditating, there's a sound going and it's part of my meditation.
Exactly.
So it's really embracing it and understanding as you begin. A lot of people don't want to start because we fear failure, even in something as simple as meditation. So start off small with 3 minutes if you want to, and prepare to fail. Prepare to get annoyed, prepare to be distracted, prepare to be taken aback at how crazy your mind just goes.
Yep.
And if you are prepared for that, then half the battle is done, because you're going to sit down and those aren't going to deter you. You're going to keep going, and you'll find a practice within that, because you'll be meditating, and for 3 minutes, if you can have 30 seconds after practicing of pure like sort of presence, that is incredible. And then after 2 weeks, it's a minute of it, and then 2 minutes, and then you're like, oh my goodness, I could let's do this hour meditation that everyone's
Exactly.
talking about. Yeah,
Exactly.
so I just definitely think it's to just prepare to be imperfect, where the whole process is of meditation and spirituality and yoga is confronting your imperfections.
I think it's so important to confront the fact that you're going to fail at something. So I was like, I'll start with 10 minutes. And if
Yes.
I can do 10 minutes, I will then do 20. And so on a daily basis, depending on the meetings and how it's going, I will do a minimum of 15, like a minimum.
Nice.
Then on the weekend, when there's time, I can go for an hour, and that's amazing. They really
That's
feel like
incredible.
there's really other things happening to you. Um,
That's so true.
when you think of organic nomad, when you think of
Yes.
the net space, and it's at the net space ZA for anybody who wants to find Banesa and Anesu on the socials. What is your dream for it? Because you know what I think that one of the reasons why we are living through a pandemic is we were going to restaurants, Vanessa, and literally doing this. I'm having
That's
such
so
a
true.
good time and not actually looking up, right?
Yeah.
So focused on showing other people what we were doing that we were not present with the people we were with. There
So
was a unconsciousness that had been happening where being sitting at home, doing nothing, going
yeah.
nowhere was a way of, I think there's an awakening that's happening in the world. And I think
Absolutely.
you are part of those people who are teaching, particularly our people, about the importance of going within. So when you have a dream for everything that you do, what is the highest, what do you see in your mind's eye where it's like, this will make me feel like, yes, I, I'm doing what it's where it should be. This is the dream.
Ooh, what a big question there, Lerato.
We're manifesting. I'm wearing this t-shirt today. I'm like, yes.
Manifest. Oh, that's a nice t-shirt.
Thank
That
you.
is
I'm
a
like,
nice
we
one.
are manifesting. So if I'm the first person to ask you, then you have the opportunity to say with intention what you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely want to create a space, a bigger space
Yeah.
where people of color predominantly feel welcome and safe to heal, learn, and empower themselves in the spiritual space, which then will spill over into other spheres of their life. So I'm talking a retreat area where we can spend it, when we can, people can stay for long amounts of time, and sort of like an ashram, you know,
Yeah.
grow in different ways. I think, yeah, it's all just, and not worry about like profit margins. And as you're saying, like meeting deadlines of, okay, the wellness set, because we are building a wellness center right now, but unfortunately, we've got targets that our investors and stuff are like, we need to be making this amount of money. So it's still not the dream, but we're on our way to that point. I just want people to feel safe and to have that, because and to be educated. Even people who go, because sometimes you just have an inkling and like, I like this. I don't know what I like about it. I don't know what I want, but who can just show up and sort of explore. So it's still very broad, because as you say, it's quite a high dream. So I haven't quite broken it down into detail, but I think we need a space that we can own, land,
Yes.
and that we definitely need land and autonomy, and a place where, because people of color, we have not been given a break ever
Oh,
since the beginning of
no.
time. We have not. We're always fighting and always having to, like, as if our existence makes people feel so bad. And
Yeah.
I just want to create a space where we are celebrated and loved and can
Feel
grow.
safe.
And yeah, exactly. And I think the very thing that they're scared of, give people of color the opportunity to realize what it is, so we can go full on that. And
Mm,
that's just our greatest, our higher selves, right? Because
yeah.
we'll take over. We really will.
So your name means turn on the light, which is
Mhm.
quite, it's like my name means love. That's
Yes, yes, yes.
you are carrying
Yes,
a
how
love.
did Lerato, how did a Zulu girl get Lerato? You should be Tando.
I know I should be. My mom loved Lerato. She just
So
loved it.
beautiful. I
So
love it as
I always have to explain that no, Zulu.
well.
So when I started school and I started reading and writing before school.
Mm,
And so when I went into, at the time, what was sub A, I think in grade one now, zero, whatever it is.
mm,
They said, who can write? I was like, oh, I can. But I'd been reading Zulu, remember? And they said, write your name. And I wrote it Lirato. And they were like, no, 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 no. I Zulu girl, your name is Sutu L-E. So
So cute. That is so cute.
I was like, yes, I can write my name. No, you can't. So your name, like mine, is spiritually loaded. And then if you think about
Yes.
light, Marion Williamson says in The Return to Love that what we're afraid of is how big our
Yeah.
light is, right?
Absolutely.
And the reality is that when we acknowledge our little spark, it
Yes.
helps, light another person's light and so forth and so on. What is
Absolutely.
your name? And particularly light and dark, because if you think of
Mm.
depression and anxiety, that
Yes.
is associated with darkness. And so you live in that space of what has light been to you, the name, your name, what does it
Yeah.
mean to you, and how, because really what you do in your job every single day is to help us find our own light by showing us yours, which is
I
important.
hope that's what I'm doing. That would be amazing. Ka Sesotho ba re ngwana o futsa lebitso. So you inherit the qualities of your name.
Mm.
And so that because of that, and I've been told that from a very young age, I didn't understand why I was turning on the light, but I understood that that was my purpose. And within time, I started to bring meaning to that purpose and be like, oh, oh. And so my name literally is that it's given me a sense of almost divine purpose. Like it feels like this is why I'm here. And it helps me. And when you forget and when you fall in the darkness, you're like, but I'm Banesa, that's my name. I don't belong in the darkness and everything.
No,
Actually, I do belong in the darkness because I bring light to darkness, which is
exactly,
important as well.
exactly.
I think, especially in African culture, our names are so heavily charged, so spiritually charged that I'm really doubtful I'd be on on this journey if I wasn't named Banesa.
Yeah, I'm with you fully. I think our names are, I think our names are loaded with meaning, and it's a wonderful thing. So for somebody who hasn't been to the net space and kind of doesn't understand that it's not just a yoga studio and it's not just a space where you can buy food. I think you guys also do take away our meals.
Yes.
For vegans, what is the space like, and what should people expect when they go?
So they must expect a community. And that's all that the nest is there is to serve a community.
Yeah.
And so we started off with yoga, and that's the wellness aspect. But then our people are hungry. So we need to feed them. So we feed them based on the yogic principles of ahimsa, no harming. And that's why our food is vegan. Then they need to shop for stuff. So we give them stuff to shop. People are like, okay, I want to live this life, but where do I get a bamboo toothbrush or a zero waste this? Or where can I buy my healthy food? Oh, right here. So we try and make it as accessible and convenient for people who are interested in this lifestyle. And then people go, okay, this is fun, but what am I doing tonight? Oh, well, we're going to have Impossibina or Demi Ma perform tonight. So we really are just creating a holistic lifestyle, because you can't just do yoga and then act like the person is a silo. Like, where are they gonna what are they gonna do for fun? What are they gonna eat? So it's a space of community where everybody, and we've got so many contributors. Like, we do the yoga, we've got a black owned pole dancing studio in our in our wellness center, and it's basically empowering women to connect to their divine femininity. And also it's incredible. I mean, I'm a yogi, and that pole dancing is hard, man.
Yo, I've
Oh,
often seen it. I'm like, how do people, you are basically holding yourself up. I don't know how people.
So the aspect of your health, the physical aspect is there, but it's also that part of you to do it, you have to be in little clothing, and it's not for any performance. You're not a stripper. It's for you to feel comfortable in your own skin and move with your skin. We've got that, and so there's just so many people who are coming and offering things at the nest space. So it's a community is all I can say, and they should expect a community that is doing their best to meet the needs of each individual member, and it's still happening and growing day by day.
Oh, that's just so incredible. Like, just what you do is amazing. I guess one of my last questions to you is, there is somebody watching this now. Now I understand, like, you and I, it's not like we're doing any of this for money. It's not like,
Yeah.
like, girl, please. but I do it because I do it because a calling, the thing that you're meant to do, the thing that is the reason why you are here, because you are life itself. We are life. Life is not the thing that happens to us. We are life, right?
Absolutely.
Is the ability to also realize there are people watching you, watching me, thinking of making a leap, doing something, but really not knowing where to start. And so for somebody who's like, has been, so I've suffered from depression as well, for a while. And I know what it's like not to want to get up from your bed, not to love yourself, not to be hopeless. It's just not see, just be in the dark, right? Somebody
Absolutely.
who's like, I want to change. I want to eat better. I want to
Yeah.
try meditation. I want to
Yeah.
go to the studio. I want to try, um, but I just don't know how to. What would be your advice to somebody like that? Because I know mindfulness has transformed my life in your life.
Yeah.
I can really put up with a lot of things that I couldn't before, and I
Yeah.
treat myself with love and kindness, and
Yeah.
I understand that I'm not separate from the source, that I am connected to you and everybody else. So I feel a little bit happier than most people, even on my hardest days. Like this was a tough week for me,
Yeah.
but
Me
through
too.
meditation, I always feel better. So how, what would you say is some of the things that people can do just to start to live in that spirit, mindful, conscious space?
You've already answered that question, and I think it's been the theme of this session. What people expect one to say is to be like, okay, well, you sit down for 3 minutes and focus on your breath, or you know what, just go vegan for one day. But it's none of that, because we all know that it's not that easy. But you said it. It ties into what I learned in branding, what I learned in spirituality, what I learned in life, and it's you've got to start with the why. In branding, it's the raison d'être. What is your reason to be? Once you're able to identify what your purpose is, or begin to start sort of minimizing and narrowing down why you exist, then there's motivation as to why you're going to meditate and as to why you're going to eat. Because if you're just doing it because if it's a superficial thing, like I want to summer body, or I like how happy they look as yogis, or I want to be in the lifestyle, it's too superficial, because you won't keep it up, because meditation is discipline. This lifestyle is a change. So you need to really, really figure it out. And the best way to do that is to ask questions of what makes me happy? What would I be doing if I didn't have to worry about money or anything? You start asking the fundamental. When you get to the question of why you are doing what you're doing, why you exist, then all these things just become tools to assist you to reach that goal. And you'll find the why is never to make money, and the why is never to be the highest Instagram followers. It's always so much more fundamental, and it's one that's going to benefit all of us.
Yeah, that's the truth. Like that's once I found out, oh, I love talking to people. Why do I like talking to people? Because I like to learn, I like to feel educated, and I like to get information. I'm a Black South African. I mean, education, and I'm a woman also. There's
Yeah.
certain things we were not given. So I want to absorb and learn and expand. And I love doing that through talking to people. You obviously your calling is wellness and helping others
Yeah.
get to wellness. You're not gonna, if money is your motivation,
Then it's not gonna keep you going. But I
no,
really am grateful for the work that you're doing, like the professionality in which you put this thing together, how you and your partners it's inspired me to like, you gotta take your shit seriously, man. Like I'm like, oh man. Now I'm like, where's my lipstick? I should have had lipstick, right? This is important. And I can see just such great things, because you're such a natural, and you're speaking about things that I know. These are conversations I get in my inbox all the time, and now I can just send them the link, and be like, there's someone who's doing the work, who's asking the questions you need to.
and the reason why I do that is because what Maya Angelou said is true. When you learn, teach, right? When you learn, teach.
Yes.
So when I've
Yes.
learned meditation is really good for me. It helps me think. I'm going to tell somebody about it. This is an incredible book. I'm going to tell somebody about it. I certainly want to say to you that I will now be ordering food from you. Now that I know that the takeaways is going to be amazing, because it is very difficult to stay on a 60% plant-based diet.
It is, no doubt. It is. I don't know why people pretend it's not.
No,
It is.
not easy. Like, and it's not even the craving of the meat. It's just trying to, I'm cooking paneer this time, and then I'm making tofu this time, but then actually, maybe I must make a mushroom stroganoff, and then I have to look on
Most of the people don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I know people who are like, what? What is that? You see, it's that problem because it's a food. That's why people get upset and be like, oh, why do you call them vegan sausages or vegan burgers when they're not chicken nuggets? Because our mind frame has been taught that you need to have chicken, rice, and vegetables. So if I don't have chicken, you need to find, let me find a chicken-like substance, you know. So it's a tough one. It really is. And it's really expensive.
And it can be expensive, but I put the time into it because, listen, human beings will put a lot of time into searching porn, but will not take time into searching food. So the same effort I give to
what an analogy.
No, because we say things are difficult, and yet you can dance for 30 minutes at a party. When somebody asks you to be physical without that stuff, to just exercise, you're like, oh no. But put some dope music on, you're not gonna feel it. So whatever works for you, whether it's pole dancing, whether it's yoga, whether it's dancing, whether it's gym, like move the body, like nourish. And I think I'm so grateful for you, Banesa. Like, I'm so grateful for your life, that you are here, that you are a light, that you are Black, that you are a woman, that you are African, and all those things mean that how you communicate to us is with the sensitivity and a kindness that we require as we get educated about how to best express ourselves in the bodies that we have been given. And I think your work is only just starting. I think after this period of time, I see nothing but harvesting and growth and success and prosperity, because you are still so committed to us, more than the money, more than anything, committed to our healing. And as a healer, we need to be grateful for your life and thank you for your life. And I pray that you reach the highest of highs, that I'm in that ashram there for 20 days of silence, going through whatever I've been feeling, because representation is important. You represent us, and I'm so grateful for you. So grateful for you and your business partner for what you do for us. Magwande.
Ooh, thank you so much. Namaste, Satnam, Lerato, Satnam. Thank you. And I look forward to tuning into you on national television or whatever's happening, because you know that's where it's going. That's incredible.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm hoping for, so that we can have more people listening to us, right?
So, bro, you need a bigger platform because this is so important, and you've got the skills, so there's no excuse as to why it can't happen.
Thank you. I'm just hoping all the energies will hear us and now bring it to life. So now we work on Spotify and YouTube and podcasts,
and that's going to be a sensation as well. We need to share and share and share. Like, so as soon as, please send me the links and everything. I need to catch up on all the other episodes you've done, because now I'm like, ooh, I've been missing out.
No, you will enjoy yourself, and I will be ordering. When I'm still a little bit like COVID thing, so I'm everything from home. Online.
Yeah, no, me too. I think take your time and space, and that's the whole thing, is we want to be here and not, the whole point of why we're continuing to exist and have still taken is because we want to show that this is not movable, you know. You are on COVID, whatever, we will still exist and be here, and that's going to allow people to trust this a lot more, you know.
Exactly. And also through us being the living word, people see that they can do the same thing and thrive as well. So I wish you all the best. You're an amazing woman. You are loved and appreciated greatly. It's at the net space ZA on the socials. She's also on Twitter. She tweets. Um, and is there, if people want to reach out to you, what's the best way to reach out to you?
So yes, Twitter, it's Banesa it's either underscore or dot creative, and that's Twitter and that's Facebook. Just send me a DM, to be honest. I respond quite fast to that.
Okay. So
Yeah.
listen, the net space ZA, you can order food, you can meditate, do yoga, and be in a community, you know, music, all of that. So let this be the year where you put yourself first and you put your mental well-being first, and people like Banesa are there for you. So Banesa, thank you so much. I can't wait to chat to you soon. Namaste.
And I can't wait till you host your session at the Nest, an event where you've got your session and you're doing this in live over when COVID's over, because I think these conversations are necessary, and I'd buy a ticket to this for sure.
And I will do it. I will come to the do it. I promise you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful, and a wonderful day and a great year. No matter what, it's a great year. No matter what.
No matter what, right?
No matter what.
Thank you so much. Sending you so much love and light.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.